Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome back. If you're not, my name is Ashlyn and I am wanting to go over my January TBR with you guys. No, not my January TBR, my January reading wrap up. So I would like to say that I'm very proud of me. I had a very good reading month. Well, now that I think about it, there were a lot of 3 stars, which is still good, but I enjoyed the books that I read. And I did very well. I read 8 books for the month of January. I felt like I read more, but apparently I didn't. But anyway, so let's just go through these books that I read. And you guys let me know if you've read any of these. What are your thoughts? Any recommendations you guys have for me based off of what you can see my reading taste is. So let's dive into it. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This is my second book by Lisa. Lisa, as if we're friends. But this is my second book by Lisa Jewell. Oh, whatever, it's real. But yeah, this is my second book by Lisa Jewell, and I will say that I did enjoy this. I did both audio and physical of this book. No, I'm lying. I didn't do audio and physical. I did strictly audio. When I realized how much I was enjoying the audio, I was like, yeah, this is a book that you have to just listen to the audio version of it. It was so immersive in a sense of there's a podcast style in this book, and it's like when it gets to the podcast style or the podcast version of it, it's kind of like, I don't want to say distorted, but it's like you're listening to an old cassette tape or an old recording. You can just hear how the voices are a little, I wouldn't say muffled, but you can just hear how the voices are, they sound different. The recording is different because they're trying to give you that feeling of you are listening to a recording versus just the narrator speaking to you through her microphone. So I really enjoyed it. I think I rated it a 4-star. I could be wrong. I could just check. 4.5. I rated it 4.5. I really enjoyed this book, so I would highly recommend None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Then I read Say You Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This was my first book by Abby Jimenez, and I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. The banter was good, the romance was good. There was no spice, which I kind of enjoyed because, you know, the other books I read, some of it is so much smut. And so it was nice to have a romance that didn't really have any spice. You knew it happened, you knew it was there, but they didn't go into detail about it, which I enjoyed. But yeah, the banter was there, like I said, the romance was there. Abby's way of writing was just really good. I really enjoyed it. And I did audio and physical. I think, with this book. And I'm lying, I only did audio because I was flying back home and I did audio and I read it on my Kindle because I didn't have my physical book with me. I was traveling and I didn't expect to pick this out. This was a random pick. This was not part of my TBR choice for January. But yeah, I really enjoyed the audiobook as well because one of my pet peeves with duet audio books are when, let's say, if it's a male point of view for that chapter and there's dialogue between the 2 characters, the female and the male, and you will have the male now pitching his voice up so he can sound like a female versus just having the female read that part. You already got her on board, so just have her read the part. So I enjoyed that was something that was done with this audiobook version, was that they were reading their parts respectively versus lowering their voice for the female to sound manly and pitching up their voice to sound like a female. So I really enjoyed that. I think I rated that 4 stars. What did I rate it? Yeah, 4 stars for Say You Remember Me. Next, I read The Housemaid by, what's her name? Freida McFadden. This is the second book to the Housemaid series. And this is The Housemaid's Secret. The Housemaid's Secret, not The Housemaid. The Housemaid's the first book. This is the second book, The Housemaid's Secret. It still follows Millie and everything that, you know, happens to her afterwards. It was cute. I enjoyed the first one better. I did see the movie to the first one. And so the second one, hey, it was kind of like, girl, how the hell you find yourself in this predicament again? But similar predicament, the same exact thing, but I rated it a 3. It was cute. Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This was the second book to the duology, the Wicked Games duology. The first one was Phantasma, and this one is Enchantra that follows the sister and all the stuff that she was going through. I rated it 3 stars as well. I found the sister to be, or the main character to be very annoying, but I find that to be the case with a lot of the female main characters in majority of the romantices that I read. That seems to be a common or running theme with them. So I don't know what that's about, but yeah, I rated it 3 stars. Magic system was good. Romance was there. There was quite a bit of spice in this book, I must say, but nonetheless, it was nice. If there was, I think there's supposed to be a 3rd book, so it's not necessarily a duology. I think there's a 3rd book that's coming out either later this year or next year. So I think I might read along with it. I think I might continue the book series. An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole. This is a trilogy. This is the 1st book in the trilogy. This follows, what's her name? Elle Burns, and it happens in the Civil War in 1861. And this touches on racism, war, interracial relationships, and everything that you would think could happen during those times. This was a really nice book. I enjoyed it. I'm currently reading the 2nd book in that series right now, and I think I rated this 3 stars as well. Not terrible, not great. Then I read Haunting Adeline. And y'all, I have my first DNF. You suck! I couldn't do it. This just isn't for me. All the sadistic and the stuff that was just happening in this book, I was like, I think the reason why I'm counting it is because I really tried. I think I made it to 50% halfway in the book, and then I just realized, you know what? It's taking me far too long. I don't find myself wanting to reach for it. I find myself cringing a lot while reading this book. I will not finish it, and I will not touch the 2nd book because no. This book, I had the physical copy and I did the audiobook version as well. And I don't have it with me right now because I lent it to my friend, but A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams, my first 5-star of the year. And I really, really enjoyed this book. The romance was great. The banter was great. The unexpected magical realism for me was just, I was like, whoa, okay, where did this come from? I did not see this coming. So I really, really enjoyed, everything about it, even the style of writing for Tia Williams. This was my first book for her, and I definitely will be reading more books by Tia Williams because that was just chef's kiss for me. Then I read, these books were read on my Kindle, and I read Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, and I really enjoyed this book. I rated it 4 stars. The banter was great. It really touched on, the struggles of Black people, the struggles of people in the LGBTQIA community, the struggle of them being accepted by their own family members and whatnot. And so I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I did the audiobook version as well. And I felt that the reason why I kind of knocked it down to a 4 stars was just little things. I guess it's more nitpicking on my end, was the audiobook version. Was that, when the narrator was reading these parts, it felt as if there were differences in pitch in his voice where there shouldn't be. Let's say he's reading a chapter or he's reading a paragraph and he stops at one sentence, and then when he picks it up, his pitch is completely different, which wasn't appropriate for that part. It's just a continuation of what he was saying. It sounds like he obviously stopped at that part, took a break, or he finished working that day, and then he picked up the next day and he couldn't get the pitch together. That's what it sounded like to me. So I can hear the difference in pitch. I could also notice that, when he's using certain accents and dialects for the characters, you have Buddy Lee, and then you had, what was the other one's name? I forgot the other main character's name, but there were different accents used for both characters, for each character. And sometimes he would be speaking in the accent that's used for Buddy Lee for the other person. So it was like a little confusing when I was listening to it. Like, wait, is this Buddy Lee speaking, or is this, I forgot his name. But so those were things that I noticed as well. In the book, I've noticed some grammatical errors. I noticed some parts where, they are speaking of someone else in a sense of that person's no longer with us, that person's not present, and they'll be like, so-and-so said, as if they were speaking in the present term. So again, me nitpicking, but these are things that I picked up on during listening to the audiobook, so that's why I kind of knocked it down to a 4 instead of it being a 5-star for me. But nonetheless, very, very enjoyable book. It really touched on touchy subjects, things that still go on to this day. I think this takes place in present day anyway, but it just really touches on things that people are still are experiencing, and I really enjoyed it. And last but not least, though, this was in no particular order. So this last book that I read was Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. This was a book club pick from my job, and I rated it 3 stars. It was okay. Again, this is probably me nitpicking, but I did the audiobook. I do audiobooks for most of my books, if not all of them. But I did the audiobook, and I just wasn't sure if the narrator was an older woman or if this was a younger woman trying to sound old. But the voice was just kind of taking a little bit of getting used to for me. Also, the plot, and it just kind of dragged on. Like, okay, and there was like really no serious changes, no third act conflict or anything like that. So I was just kind of like, and this ending wasn't too satisfying for me. So I was just kind of like, all right, next. It wasn't the worst book I've read. It wasn't the best book I read. So I rated it, I think, a 2.5 or 3 stars. So yeah, that's all the books I read for the month of January. I would say it was a fairly decent reading month. You know, I got a 5-star read, and anytime I can get a 5-star read, it's a good one for me. I'll take it. A win is a win. A win is a win. So have you read any of these books? Any other recommendations you give me based off of my reading style? You guys let me know, and let's chat down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.